this is the thing. I know a lot of people in town and others who have, like a Ukrainian guy, been here 20-something years. His kids are all born here, already in college. He's being deported. I mean, I know a bunch of people in Austin, Hispanic, you name it, who like have kids here that are 25 years old. They've been deported. I mean, you don't want to deport people that are non-citizens because they're protesting Israel, but people that have been here 20 years and have a big business and have a bunch of kids here and are contributing, I don't care if they're brown or white, I think they have a right, I think Trump should get a better, I mean, they're trying so hard to get people and impress everybody because the base wants it, that they are just grabbing a lot of people that should be last on the list, if at all, because the bad people are hiding.
All right, the bad people are hiding, he said. That was Alex Jones speaking with Nick Fuentes about Trump's deportation policy, and he seems to be echoing the sentiment of a lot of Americans, left or right, that the way the Trump administration is going about executing these deportations is unconstitutional. So in the clip, Fuentes is upset because he thinks the Trump deportation numbers should be way higher than they are, but he does not agree with Jones's assertion that these illegal immigrants are hiding. He says, just go to where they work, the construction sites and the farms, you'll find them. That's how you get them out of here. So Jones did say that Trump's efforts to deport American citizens to El Salvador was both dangerous and unconstitutional, something I think most people certainly agree with. Take a look.
I think it's way more dangerous, Trump saying we're looking to deporting citizens to El Salvador. Now that's unconstitutional, and that is really bad.
I agree with that.
Of course, he is referring to Trump saying he wants to start sending homegrown criminals to El Salvador, i.e. American citizens, which is not what anyone, not even Trump's most diehard MAGA supporters, ever asked for. But while these deportations have drawn both Democratic and Republican ire across the country, the Trump administration is not letting up. Just this week, a memo was obtained by USA Today, issued by Attorney General Pam Bondi on March 14th, ordering ICE officials to enter homes without warrants in their search for illegal immigrants to deport. So now not only are we arresting and deporting people without due process, we're not even obtaining warrants for these arrests. In the memo, ICE agents were given permission to flout the quote unquote proactive procedures to obtain warrants because they will not always be realistic or effective in swiftly identifying and removing alien enemies. The memo read, given the dynamic nature of enforcement operations, officers in the field are authorized to apprehend aliens upon a reasonable belief that the alien meets all four requirements to be validated as an alien enemy. It added, this authority includes entering an alien enemy's residence to make an alien enemy's act apprehension where circumstances render it impracticable to first obtain a signed notice and warrant of apprehension and removal. On March 15th, the very next day, Trump announced that he would be invoking the Alien Enemies Act, even though the act doesn't really apply to this current situation because we are not at war with any nation. This was also the day that 200 Venezuelans were deported to El Salvador, including the wrongfully deported Kilmar Abrego Garcia, whose story we have covered extensively on this show. So what's sad about this story, like the Alex Jones of it all, not necessarily the story itself, is that like I don't want to be perceived as celebrating Alex Jones for saying something that everyone should already know and understand, something that really everyone should just agree on a factual basis. It is factually unconstitutional to carry out deportations the way the Trump administration has chosen to do so. That Alex Jones said that out loud and it's headline worthy is a testament to the fact that so many of us just don't live in the real world anymore. People are constantly being gaslit by their chosen media figures and influencers to the point that when these pundits and influencers actually say something factual, something that shouldn't be considered remarkable or noteworthy, we have to celebrate it. But the flip side of that, Cenk, is that when we have someone like Alex Jones saying these things to his specific audience, it does feel like a victory because you know that the people who watch that show aren't the same people watching this show. So we can't reach them with this message, but for whatever reason, they're over there listening to Alex Jones. So Cenk, what do you make of this story specifically? What it says about the world that we live in, where the emperor just has no clothes. He never had any.
Yeah, and that comes from a guy who made shirtless videos, so it's kind of appropriate. That's Alex Jones. We did make fun of that in the past. All right, look, I got no interest in Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones, but it's a sign of the times. It's a sign of how crazy Trump has become that even Alex Jones is like, whoa, bro, whoa, take it easy. That's nuts, right? So, and he's not saying it on wrong ground, saying unbelievably, he's saying it on right ground here. So, but break down further what they alluded to in those clips, right? So first, there's the thing that everybody agrees on: sending U.S. citizens to El Salvador. What are you, nuts? No, it's so obviously unconstitutional. It's not even worth considering. And in fact, the only defense that I've seen that MAGA have of that insanity is, well, I've seen two. One is, well, what if they were really bad? That's not how the Constitution works. What if they were really bad, right? And the other one is, oh no, he's just trolling. No, he won't. No, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Even though he has said twice on air in the White House, yeah, I'd like to send homegrown criminals to that dungeon in El Salvador. So when you've lost Alex Jones on that, I don't know that there's anyone left. Is there anyone to the right of Alex Jones? So I don't know, Roger Stone. Is there like, can you find 7 people in the country who go with Trump on that? I'm not sure you can. But what was interesting is that it was broader than that, mentioning how critics of Israel are being rounded up. I'm not surprised if Fuentes says that. He's got a lot of issues on that issue. So I don't want to give Fuentes any credit for any of that, right? But Alex Jones being concerned about that, I'm not sure that I would have imagined that he'd be concerned about that, but apparently he is. And then people, if you notice, he said people that have been here a long time, Alex Jones did. And then they're getting rounded up, and that's because the others are hiding. That's his excuse, right? But basically what Jones was saying there is, I know a lot of people in Austin who are getting rounded up who shouldn't be rounded up. Oh, when it's the people all of a sudden you begin to realize, hey, this is what oppression looks like. And for all the right wingers who were worried about and warned about tyranny in government, well, here it is, brothers and sisters, and you open the doors for it. But it's okay, I'm not in the crowd that says, oh, you open the doors for it, so it's all your fault and I hate you, etc. No, it doesn't matter. What matters is, what do we do going forward? And enough of us have to unite around the fact that the Constitution matters, our rights matter, and you can't trample upon them to send Americans abroad, to arrest anyone who disagrees with Israel, a foreign country, to do all of these abuses. Earlier in the show, we talked about how he's now wants to use the military inside America, that insane talk about running for a 3rd term that's unconstitutional. No, I had a sense that a good number of online shows on the right and independents would push back against that, and they did. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them did. But if you had asked me, would Alex Jones be among them? I would have said, no way, no way. Alex Jones will agree to any abuse of power that Trump says. And it turns out I was wrong. Even Alex Jones saying, no, you shouldn't abuse the Constitution like this. If you're crazier than Alex Jones, you might be crazy. So that's why we showed you the poll earlier in the show. 52% of Americans now say that Trump wants to be a dictator who destroys our democracy. That is a stunning number. These guys turning on Trump is stunning. So now we find out, will Donald Trump listen to anyone? Will he turn around and stop this abuse of the Constitution and our rights? Or is he gonna dig in further and lose the whole country? That's what we're all gonna find out together.
That's the thing that stood out to me too, is now that he's pulling from his own personal experience, now that he knows people who are actually affected by these Trump policies, he feels some type of way about them to the point that he is finally speaking out against them. But I just wanna say, I don't wanna give Alex Jones too much credit here. Credit where it's due, but he's still a Trump supporter. He's still for this deportation policy overall. And he's still a conspiracy theorist, because on the show, he was like, they're just rounding up the wrong illegal immigrants. difference, but they're out there. They're just in hiding, which I thought was a funny spin on the story. Funny, relatively speaking. It's just so Alex Jones to be like, they're out there and they're in hiding, and we still need to be worried and scared of these people. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, super last thing is, nobody's giving Alex Jones credit for anything. What we're saying is it's amazing that he's even lost Alex Jones on this issue. That's all. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.